Yeah, it's empty. Oh, we'll go ahead and do this. I'm just gonna literally use what's here and move things around. This list is probably gonna be pretty close to where the meta's at. There are some things that aren't gonna be that crazy, but yeah, we'll move some things around. Just gonna start off with Soul. Soul is S plus. All five of these, maybe not Capri. So let's do this. Can I move here? Can I? No, you can't do that. Can I do this? Okay. So no, I can't do that. That's stupid. That is really dumb. Why is my dog snoring so loud? There you go. He finally woke up. Okay, so Hell is S plus. Unless you have an Odin or a Circuit, you can't counter her. Anti-healing is not enough to counter Hell right now. Like just flat items and flat weakening curse. It's not enough. You have to have Odin. You have to have Circuit and anti-healing to beat a Hell. It's the way it works. Circuit is still S plus. Blink nerf did not hurt her at all. She's still nasty. Still the best jungler in the game. Soul is actually broken now. She's borderline like SS and S plus, just if you know how to play her. She can split push towers, and one creep wave she can take a tower, like just flat. No matter what level it is, one creep wave can take a tower. What's it called? Sun Wukong's still OP. They didn't do anything to the Bluestone nerf. Sun Wukong's still top Soul and OP, nasty. You can't go wrong with Sun Wukong. Capri we're gonna move down to S. Capri is really really good, but he's not like the end all be all. You have to have him on your team. He's pretty much in line with like Athena and Geb for supports. That's just how it works. So Bellona, in my opinion, is S in the solo lane, but like A plus in the jungle. So I'll leave her alone. She's pretty good. I'm actually gonna move her. I'm just gonna move her. She's gonna be A plus, just because she's not even picked all the time in the solo lane. So we'll put Bellona. The nerf hurt her more than everyone thought. She doesn't counter Sun Wukong. She can do well against it if you play properly in the jungle. You really don't beat anything anymore. The ult being on a longer cooldown it hurts. It makes a big difference. Freya I don't think is S at all. Freya's S plus. She gets countered by Bellona disarm, which is like a major thing everyone worries about. And then you can just focus her down. If you get a Circuit, you can farm Freya very easily. It's not hard. You can one shot her with your combo. So if her beads are ever down, or you just get in there and make her burn her beads and then re-engage and kill her, it's pretty simple. Janice for me is going to be S plus if played correctly. Not many people play Janice to the full potential. The global mobility, all that stuff is. When I say mobility, I mean team mobility. I don't mean her mobility like in a lane. I mean the fact that she can take a whole team from one side to the other. She can force a gank in the duo lane when no one's ready for it. If the other team plays up, it's pretty much a free kill against the Janice unless you have really quick reaction time. So Janice for me is going to be S plus, moved up from S. Nua is poo poo. I don't like Nua. I'll put Nua at A. Nua's over here now. She's not that good. She's like a safe mid. She doesn't do that much. People learned how to play against her finally. Her ult doesn't do anything till late game. So Nua is one of those things I would not prioritize if I were you. The other mages, the healing just took over. Healing's way more important than having a Nua. Rama also getting moved down to A tier. Rama's good, but he's not end-all be-all hunter at all. I never in a game am like, I want a Rama. That's not the case. So Rama's for me is A. He's easy to kill, easy to farm, easy to shut down. It's not too difficult. Agni being A plus is fair. Agni is Agni, and it's always good. He's never the best. He's never horrible. You know, in between. Ao Kuang, I'm putting Ao Kuang at A. I don't like Kuang. I think the nerf to the damage on the 3 and the cooldown on the 3 hurts a lot. And I don't play him in the jungle at all anymore. I just don't think it's worth my time. There's much better. Aphrodite is going to get moved up to S. Afro is probably one of the second, probably like top tier. I would put her at S plus, but it's only S because everyone can play her at S. You put her in someone like Kiki's hands, and she's S plus. She's the best mid god in history. I already moved Bellona. Awilix is really good. I'm going to leave Awilix at A plus with the buff to the ult. If you run any kind of knock-up comp, you can catch people off guard really easily, and I really like it. Competitively, I'm not sure where she'll stand, so I'm just going to leave her alone. Fenrir, I'm putting it A. I don't think Fenrir is A+. I think Fenrir has some counter matchups, and if you pick Fenrir too early, you'll get destroyed just about in every situation. Awilix destroys Fenrir in the solo and the jungle lane. Circuit's going to destroy Fenrir in the jungle. Just about everything beats Fenrir in the jungle. We've already moved Freya. Guan Yu is not that good. Guan's falling down to an A for me. Guan doesn't do anything. His healing is decent, but it's decent for like that early mid-game potential, and then late game is just kind of very average, and any kind of healing, anti-healing actually does counter that Guan healing by that point. Hercules for me is an A. Hercules is alright, but you can farm Hercules pretty simply. I'm going to leave Isis at A+. I think unless you're playing against a Serket, you should be good to play Isis, like as a mid laner versus all jungles. Isis fell off because of the blink meta, where everyone was getting blink and just blinking on an Isis and pulling her up. I think Osiris is good at A+. In solo lane, don't play him in the jungle. In solo lane, he's just annoying, and he always will be. He just gets his farm and comes into team fights and runs at people. Sylvanas for me is going to be A tier for support. Sylvanas can win some lanes, but with Khepri and other gods, it's just not worth picking up Sylvanas as an A+. I would value Khepri, Athena, and Geb way above Sylvanas. Even putting Sylvanas in A+ tier is pretty average. You can farm him. With a lot of the picks, especially with people getting anti-healing, it completely counters like the reason for Sylvanas. If you're getting engaged on that Sylvanas, you're probably going to die over and over again. Xbalanque is going to stay at A+. His global ult is OP, and late game he shreds people. Anhur is going to stay A. Apollo for me is going to move up to A+. His global presence in this meta is awesome. His wave push is awesome. His defensive abilities are awesome. So he'll move up for me. Ares can stay the same. I don't think Ares is very good. I think Bastet is pretty bad, but I don't want to move her. I personally would not play her. She doesn't really have a place in this meta whatsoever. So I'll say if you want to have fun with her in ranked and casuals, you'll be okay. Just because she's pretty average. She doesn't have too many hard counters. She just doesn't do that amazing. Her kit's just not that amazing for what's being done in the game. Chunga for me, I kind of want to move up Chunga, but I don't because nobody plays her. I think she has potential. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see more Chunga at some point, but for now I'll leave her alone. Just that healing is gonna come into play at some point. Kronos, I'm not gonna move. He's A. We move these. Hades for me is going to be A+. I think Hades played properly and using the heal from grouping up creeps is actually kind of nasty and broken. People don't realize it. The pressure you can put out and the potential to turn a fight is insane. And then with people building non-jump gods, Hades isn't always an option, just the way it works. Hu Yi is going to move up to A+. Hu Yi with the buffs is pretty nasty, crazy clear. Penetration in this meta is kind of key. People are running healers. People are running defense, just flat physical defense every game. Hu Yi shreds, even with physical defense. So Hu Yi for me moves up for those reasons. Hun Batz for me is A+. I don't like Hun Batz, you know I don't, but his team control is always good. He should never fall below A+. If people ever move him down below A+, and he's not nerfed, they're wrong. Kali for me will stay A. Did I move Thor? Or did I talk about Thor? Thor is always good. Thor is just going to remain A+. You can pick him whenever you want, and you'll be fine. He does have counters like Nemesis and Thanatos and Serket, but he'll be okay. Like, he even does fine in those matchups. Medusa's not going to move for me. She's not really that great. Her early game potential is nice, but late game sucks. Neith for me is the same. Early game potential is nice. Late game sucks. I already moved Nua. Poseidon for me is going to move up. I think an aggressively played Poseidon is broken, and it's unbeatable. Not many people play it right. Lassus is probably one of the only people who plays an aggressive Poseidon who actually uses his abilities properly. And a good Poseidon that forces the other team to buy Aegis is going to do work. Ra is going to stay the same, even though he's a healer. Just his lack of mobility and the fact that his healing is kind of slowed, and with any kind of anti-healing, it makes his healing really do nothing. Ra is going to stay the same. Ratatasker sucks. I'm moving Ratatasker down to B+. I don't like him. Don't ever play him in the jungle. He dashes around a couple times, does like 4 damage, and he can be killed super easily and be counterpicked really easily. Scylla, moving down to B+. I don't like Scylla. I think there's very few people that can land her ult all the time, and if you aren't consistent with something, you should be picking it. Her damage is really good, but it's not consistent. No matter who's playing it, it's not consistent. What are we at? Sobek. I think Sobek's really annoying. We'll move Sobek up to A+. They buffed him. He can play solo, he can play support. If you're crazy, you can throw him in the mid lane or something. He has just potential to be annoying in a fight with max CDR because boots were changed. Is like it's hard to kind of quantify like how good it is, but once you play against it or play with it, you'll understand. So Sobek moves up for me. Ul moves up for me. His burst potential has always been good, and I think he's just undervalued. I think aggressive duo lanes that can transition into the mid game as really hard carries are going to be good, and they already are in this meta. Especially if healing's banned out. Even if it's not, you can burst somebody down with Ul, so Ul's going to be moved up for me. Xing 10 is really bad, moving him down to B+. The damage nerfs on top of... They reverted the damage nerfs, but before they had already nerfed his damage, they nerfed his 1. Those beginning nerfs on top of the cooldown on his ult makes him poo-poo. Don't play him in the jungle. You can try him wherever you want. He'll work in casuals, but it's not your best choice ever. Ymir, I will leave where he is. He's really good, but I'm not going to touch him because he's like a mix between really aggressive and just getting caught out. Like, you're either going to be perfectly aggressive with your team or you're going to get caught out and wrecked. So Ymir, I'll leave alone. It's just team comp dependent. Apooch, I'm moving up to A+. Nobody plays Apooch. I don't know why. He's super strong. His burst is still crazy. Built correctly, he's broken. He counters healing. So picking Apooch into healing comps will help you a lot. Chalk is going to move up to A for me. I'm not sure where he stands. I think he's really good. I think that healing buff or the slow buff is going to make him viable in the solo lane, at least for the early and mid, like the late part of the mid game. Once you get into end game, like where everyone's full build, Chalk's pretty poo-poo. Hebo, I'm going to leave alone. Kukulkan, I'm going to leave alone. Nothing's changed. They're still really average. Loki, I'm going to leave alone. Nemesis is going to move up to S tier. Nemesis counters healers. Nemesis counters tanks. They buff Nemesis' shield, and just the way the meta shifted, Nemesis was already on top before that buff. Throw that buff into it. She's S. I would pick her in the first 3 picks of every competitive game. Just flat out. Unless the other team's running some old... They're not running healing. They're running very few tanks or something. Then you might not want to pick Nemesis. But Nemesis definitely moves up. Odin moves up to A+. Is this going to fit? Okay, cool. So Odin has moved up to A+. Have to be able to counter healing. If you can't play Odin at a competitive level or a high level or high ranked, whatever, if you cannot play Odin in some role, you will lose the game. Odin counters healing. He always has. He always will. And this is a healing meta. So learn how to play Odin. What are we at? Thanatos. I'm going to move Thanatos up to A. I think he's better than people think he is. He's just not played a lot. He counters Thor. And then he can do well against other matchups if you're able to play aggressively enough. Pair him with a healer early, like a Hell, and you'll just steamroll people. Tier, I don't really know, so I'm going to leave him alone. Zeus. New Zeus is S tier. His mid-Harpy fight at level 3 and 4 is one of the most OP mid-Harpy fights I've ever seen. You can actually control the whole middle of the map with Zeus if you play correctly. His mobility's lacking. Buy some actives. Have a team that can help him out, like Geb, Thor, like control team comp that helps Zeus. Odin, you'll be good to go. We'll move down to Amuz Cab. We're not going to touch Amuz Cab. We're not going to touch Anubis. We're not going to touch Arachne. All these gods I would not play in competitive. They're immobile, not good in lane, and his team fight can be countered by a lot of things that are played right now. Kobraken, same thing. He's not really that mobile. He's pretty easy to focus. Pick a Nemesis, insta-kill Kobraken. Cupid, I'll move up to A. I think Cupid's actually pretty good. Just because people, like I said, are looking for that early to mid game push in the duo lane, and then the fights at the early to mid game with those healers on top of Cupid healing. It's really strong. Kumba definitely moves up to A for me. You know I play him in the jungle. His burst is crazy. His support role presence is actually pretty crazy too. You can initiate with a blink mez and then knock someone up. You can insta-kill a mage in the jungle. If you're Kumba Karna, you can 100-0 mage. If he doesn't beat your ult, or you just actually blink and ult right away and get it off, you'll 100-0 mage. Mercury's going to move up to A. I think the buffs made him a little bit better. I think more time and people kind of rounding out his build differently instead of going straight into like crit or straight into certain items. I think once people realize this new build, or a new build, I don't even know, a new build he can run, he'll be stronger. Nija's going to move up. Dare to Care plays one of the best Nija's in the game. It's kind of annoying because he's really, really good at it. So if you like Nija, then play him, her, it, whatever you want to call it. Play him. And you should be okay. He needs to be really aggressive. You need a team comp that can follow up with you. You don't want a team comp where you go in and they stand back and watch, or you'll just get wrecked. Vamana moves up for me to A tier. Vamana does okay against Wukong. Vamana's annoying. Play Vamana if you like being frontline person who stands in front of people and can be annoying. Jean Quay is going to move up for me, A tier. If built properly with Vamp Shroud and Purple Pot, your early clear is okay. By okay, I mean you can like full clear, like level 1, 2. And then you can fight a mid-Harpies because you have so much health, you're not squishy. Avoid playing against Serket, Nemesis, gods that lock you down too much. They could be difficult. Thor on top of like an Athena could destroy Jean Quay. Watch out for those things, and you'll be good. And then the bottom tier, you guys can't see them. They are here. You can see them. Artemis, we're leaving here. Bakasura, we're leaving here. And Ravana, we're leaving here. They're not good. Nothing's changed about them. You guys should know why they're not good. So there is the full tier list. I think if you have any of these gods, Soul, when she comes out, I mean, I'll move her up here. But Soul, when she comes out, these four right here, if you have them on your team, you're probably not going to lose. If you have a good Aphrodite or any of these gods, a good Nemesis player on your team, you're probably not going to lose. And then when you start trickling down after these first picks, you're going to look at these, and then A tier. and then your B+, B, and C you should never be playing unless they're just your favorite gods. So hopefully this tier list will help you out a little bit. I can answer questions when I put this up on YouTube, or if you have I didn't skip like 5 gods. What? All the gods are here. I talked about every single god. Everything's here. So if you have any questions, ask me on YouTube and I'll try to answer, because I am going to get off and study now. I told you guys I'd do a tier list. There it is. Of a monster, of a monster.